Grab your drink, candy bar, and popcorn because you're about to listen to a whole other episode of The Apocalypse Bros. And we're back. It's me, SOS.
And it's me, Sly. I'm back. Corona free.
He is safe from the corona. The bite was not infectious. It did not break the skin and thus get into his blood.
Yeah, I figured it wouldn't, but obviously we want to be very careful, and the sanitation union urged me to get it checked out.
They locked him in a solitary for 2 weeks.
That's why I was urged.
Yes, it's quite urgent.
That's how they urged me to
That's
do
how
it.
they urge, yep, exactly. And then I was just kind of stuck hanging out on my own because, of course, with my close connection with Sly, they had to make sure I was also not infected.
Yeah.
But I had a much more cushioned waiting experience.
Yes, my bottom is sore.
I can imagine.
Yep.
It's a pretty hard floor in there.
Oh, yeah, and that was a VIP suite, so
Yeah.
you could imagine.
I can't even imagine what they put other people in.
Well,
It's unpleasant.
Buckets knows.
Yeah, Buckets knows well. That's right. We'll have to ask him about that next time he's on. Which might be soon, but we'll get to that at the end of the episode. But for now, we're going to talk about some news. Some headlines. We've got two headlines today, as we usually do.
Those headlines.
That's right, for all you Espanol speakers. I don't know why I did an accent there. It's kind of like the Master of Disguise, where it's like, you don't speak... You know how like people do that? They don't speak the language. And they either like go into an accent or else they talk slower, like you're going to understand them.
Yeah,
it's like,
I know.
Nope, don't.
No,
Like,
I don't.
This is a cheeseburger. It has bacon on it, and it is $3. And it's like, dude, I don't even know what dollars are.
Right? Yeah,
And you're hitting me with all that. Well, I guess they wouldn't even say that because they wouldn't know what they're saying. They're just like, wow.
Me no es
Inglés.
comprehende.
Exactly.
Get really good Spanish, guys. Can you see?
We're not racist. We're just pointing out the flaws of language in general and people's attempt to bridge that gap. But whatever the case, we got two headlines today. Interestingly enough, both of them are related to pre-Coronapocalypse times and sort of the issues we're dealing with post-Coronapocalypse. Now that we're here, this is what we got left with before everybody left.
Everybody.
That's right. So, I don't know. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can start it.
All right, I'll go first. All right. So, first headline for today. Now, again, just before the Coronapocalypse hit, we had Tasmanian devils getting reintroduced to Australia for the first time ever in, I think it was 3,000 years. It's a long time.
goodness.
These things have been basically extinct for a long time. And that's right. Lemony fresh.
The official mating call of the Tasmanian devil.
That's right. That's right.
Brought to you by Bugs Bunny.
That's right. So obviously, that's definitely an interesting factoid. But now, of course, we've kind of come up to the repercussions of such a thing, and that is that we are stuck with the mutated, post-Coronapocalypse mutated versions of those Tasmanian devils. Now, Tasmanian devils were known for being a pretty intense and otherwise vicious animal. Pre-Coronapocalypse, of course. And now, of course, that's translated into post-Coronapocalypse, where it is even more dangerous. It's even more aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
And to top it all off, we now refer to them as the Volcanian devil because they spit lava.
Yeah,
now, we all know it's not actually lava, but it is highly, highly, highly acidic gastric acids that can melt things on contact.
Burn
This
right through
isn't exactly. This isn't like get it on your skin, and if you don't get it off within a couple seconds or something, or even a minute, and you have to wash it off with something specific, like it'll leave like a chemical burn or something like that. But no, this is like melt your skin right off from your bones. It might melt your bones as well.
Listen, that bacon sizzle.
That's right. That's you.
You're the bacon.
That's right. And it's going to eat you afterwards.
Yes.
Probably.
Most likely.
Everything seems to.
Everything, yeah. If it kills you,
you could have a butterfly land on your shoulder, and it's actually just eating away at your dead skin.
Yeah, it's very true.
Which actually isn't that bad.
No,
it's just dead skin. But if it got past the dead skin and it was like, I'm still hungry, then you'd still have a problem. So, Whatever the case, watch out for those if you live in Australia. Thankfully, they are in Australia. They haven't really like reproduced on an incredible level, so you probably won't run into them even if you live in Australia. But if you do, it's definitely not a good idea to stick around. Definitely not a good idea to stay within spitting range. What the range is for this, I'm not sure.
No one's wanting to check it out.
Yeah, nobody's really wanting to like. All right, I'm gonna stand here now. Go ahead and spit at me, and I'll see if it'll reach this point. Shoot, it got me.
We know we'll go 10 feet. So.
Yeah, at least 10 feet. So yeah, it's just or at least 6 feet.
Thanks to our
right?
men in the field checking it out.
That's right. So hopefully, once we get news back from our zoologists that are out in the field, then we'll be able to give you a little bit better, hopefully more detailed rundown of their attacks. But until then, just avoid them. Like if you see them from a distance, get out of there.
Run away.
Get
Run away.
I'd say get under cover, but it can melt the cover with its acid spit. So I don't know if that's going to help you that much.
Yeah.
So whatever the case, that's my headline. Sly, what do you got for us?
Well, not as terrifying, but who knows what it'll lead to. We have the once again, this was prior to, so we have no idea what's going on. But of course, people have decided to open up some sarcophaguses. So
is it sarcophaguses or sarcophagi?
Sarcophagi.
I don't know.
I know a sarcophagi. Yeah. All right. So anyway, so people have opened up these mummy containers, as it were, and because of course they did, because what a good time to do it. Which begs the question: was this why the Coronapocalypse came upon us? Was this karma for opening up it? I mean, if
Some kind of Egyptian curse.
Exactly. If anyone's seen anything about mummies, we all know that it has to do with the curses, right? Everything. I've been thinking about a mummy. There's always a curse with it.
There's always a curse.
You open it up, you get cursed. You open it up, you control it, you're cursed, but then you get to control the mummy and curse other people. Whatever it is.
Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
You might be okay.
That's true.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the Tom Cruise version. That just sounded stupid.
I did watch all the Brennan ones.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that could be a good possible reason why. So of course we have a lot of people that are saying it's very disrespectful that they open them. The reason why they were for their own religious practices, because they want to be guided in the afterlife, right? And then here we are opening them and stuff. So we obviously have people saying that we are not respecting their views, all this other stuff. So yeah, we have kind of a big. It's once again causing kind of a stir, and it's been brought back up again. I think just because of the time that we're kind of in right now, kind of in the middle of the Coronapocalypse and stuff, without any certain way that we kind of see getting out. So we're kind of just trying to bring it back up again. So yeah, we've got to just watch out for any effects of that. And now once someone brings it up to you about what we're talking about.
It's true. I mean, as far as the religious side goes to it, I mean, we're in a Coronapocalypse. Anything could be a thing. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe Anubis is in fact waiting to weigh our souls against whatever. Who knows? Maybe Zeus is running around as some animal or person he's disguised himself as in the Coronapocalypse. Maybe he's one of the superheroes we hear about. Who knows? I don't know. There's weird stuff going on. So you don't want to mess with those Egyptian curses, because if they're legit, you might have a scarab beetle crawling through your skin, like in the movie.
Literally the worst thing I've ever seen as a child.
It was pretty. Every
time I got a bug on me, I thought that was going to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's gonna.
So if you haven't watched the movies, find yourself an old projector and get going.
Yeah, you could probably get it on VHS if you sneak into one of those Goodwills.
Maybe one of those traveling theaters that present in person.
That's become a big thing lately. It's true.
So
we'll get to that That's a headline in and of itself. Definitely exciting news right there.
Oh yeah.
We've seen 3 movies now.
Yes.
Thanks to traveling theaters. But again, we'll get to that later on. So
yeah. I think I also, one more with that, I think you have to be careful because of all the different religious things we have going on. We have different cults and tribes and gangs and everything in the apocalypse. That you have people that really do worship these mummies and have very much a agenda to see them avenged. So you just have to be very careful with those people and stuff, and obviously you don't want to be disrespectful to them either, because you could end up their dinner.
That's right. Be cautious of museums.
Yes.
Because that's where they tend to hang out. These sort of historic zealots.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, of areas you should or shouldn't avoid, we're back for part 2 of our tips and tricks for scavenging.
Whoa!
And I'm sure that we can just kick things off with saying museums. What do we think about museums? Are they a good scavenge or are they a bad scavenge?
It's a good question.
I mean,
SOS.
Based on what we're saying right now, it's kind of questionable if it's a good scavenge because you'd have to deal with potential cultists or even just crazed historians even.
Oh, yeah.
But on the other hand, some of the weaponry loot that you could get from a place like a museum could be pretty beneficial. I mean, we're depending on the museum, what kind of stuff they're talking about, promoting, whatever the case.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking swords, we're talking spears, crossbows, bows,
even
ones.
even different. You might be able to find mechanical parts there.
Could find a cannon.
Yeah, cannons. Yeah, exactly. Old equipment, obviously not in working condition. You have to do some stuff to get them there, but they have been, because they're in a museum, they all are pretty well in pristine condition as far as that goes. It's just about the know-how and stuff, and who you know, what you know, and how you can get it back to working position. So I think one of those, my tip would be, if you are going to go to the museum, based on like what we've been talking about, the different cults and stuff that might be hanging out there, or just those crazy history ex-professors and teachers. We all know everyone's had that crazy history teacher at some point, right? That's kind of been like, we get it, World War II. Yeah. Whoa. And so you always got to be careful for those guys, but you want to check it out, scout it out before you want to go in. This is not something you go into, you sneak into, because they want to make it seem like no one's home. So you got to scout it out and see if you can see any activity in there before you really go in, because great stuff, but a lot of times that is heavily guarded from the inside. And museums, because of the theft rate at museums, whether art museum or an actual history museum, is so high that they really were crafted well. They had, a lot of places have glass that is impact proof. A lot of them have big heavy steel doors, so it's going to be tougher to penetrate if they are really locked up from the inside. So
I mean, at the end of the day, and a lot of the stuff that you will find, I guess, now that I think about it, the weapons and such that I was talking about before, they're probably going to be pretty old. I mean, if they're like legit ones on display, it's pretty much worthless. I mean, even if you found a nice sword, it's going to be pretty rusted. It's going to be dulled for sure at the very least. So I'd say as far as that goes. Now, if it's a replica, that could be 50-50, depending on where they got the replica from. More than likely, it's at least dull, because it'd be
definitely probably be dull,
dangerous to put on display if it wasn't. You might be able to sharpen it yourself because it could be made from legitimate materials and such, but just made sure to be dull.
Yeah.
And then that's possible, and that might be beneficial in all honesty. But I feel like as far as other things that you could potentially find, like you said, maybe some mechanical pieces, maybe some obscure stuff that you might not find anywhere else and might need for very specific tasks.
A lot of cleaning products. You can
That's
make different
true.
stuff with the cleaning products.
Lots of glass cleaning products, that's for sure.
A lot of stuff, though. That's usually the basement material. Once again, we've talked about before. Basements are always one of those places that are never good to go into, especially alone. So it's a risky thing, but a lot of people aren't going to be thinking museum for cleaning stuff. So that's a lot of times
That's
you
true.
get. And they have some really good stuff too. Some rust, stuff to help prevent rust because of the older stuff.
So that's a good point. I'd say at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, and I mean maybe Sly disagrees, I'd say probably not a good scavenge.
Yeah.
A maybe scavenge, if not a bad scavenge, just because the stuff you'll be getting there just might not be really worth it for the risk that you might be taking for a number of reasons. And then again, the possibility that the stuff that you do find there just wasn't worth it in the first place.
Exactly, yeah.
It wasn't what you were expecting it to be.
Might not be as valuable to you as it's going to be to the people guarding it.
That's right. And using it to lure you in.
Exactly.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, I would say probably not unless you are in dire circumstances and you really need, some loot or whatever. I mean, you could always infiltrate, I guess, the cult and try to work your way in and then, steal from within. But that's as dangerous as it gets, too, so...
And I mean, if it was by chance that you were able to find a museum or stumble across a museum that was not already taken over by somebody, I would definitely encourage you to claim it.
Yep.
Usually museums are very secure, like you had talked about before, Sly. And on top of it, they're typically built with a pretty sturdy material. Unless you kind of are like traveling through the Midwest, for instance, and come across one of those smaller museums that's kind of themed towards something specific.
Oh, yeah.
Those might be, kind of a traditional house style, but some of the larger museums in some of the bigger cities, those are going to typically be made of stone, brick type materials, and that means they are going to be incredibly sturdy and incredibly safeguarded or safe in general. So that could be a benefit. But if it's already been taken over, if you notice people are there, again, probably not the best goal.
I will say your old automobile or your old, plane exhibits, if you can go to just, a aviary, or is that birds? I think that's birds. Or is aviary just
I mean, it is birds. I don't know. I felt like it went
planes?
for flying in general.
That's what I was thinking anyway. Anyway, if you can go to a plane museum, anything with planes and stuff, you can pull a lot of pieces off those planes to use in making yourself temporary bunkers, or even just taking them and creating doors off them. But you're also gonna have to have a torch if you're doing that. So if you got the equipment for it, those are also great just because of the metal pieces. Even though most mechanical stuff is gonna be either removed or just useless because of age and unuse on it. So
True.
But definitely a good place because
Good
they do
scrap
usually
metal pieces and stuff.
and they are kept in decent condition. So always a good place for scrap metal if you can't find yourself a junkyard that is easy enough to have access to.
Right, and you're a lot less likely to run into those cultists and those history buff psychopaths.
Exactly, yeah.
At places like that. So that's a good point. Now, in all honesty, this is another good one that kind of ties right into that, and that is airports. Are airports a good scavenge?
Ooh, wow.
Geez, that's a tough one, honestly. Pros, I'd say it's a huge area. Now, I mean, I'm talking more the interior.
Yeah.
But even the interiors of airports are massive. I mean, I'm thinking about the times when I went through airports to like actually travel and stuff like that pre-Coronapocalypse, and I mean, we were in a whole like wing of the place, which we had to park, like we had to drive all the way through and park in this one specific spot and then go in here. Then we had to go like down this like insanely long hall.
Oh yeah.
One time we even they have like a tram that goes between buildings, which was ridiculous. And then you get to the main building. Well, then you got to go through the customs. So that's like a big long line, a lot of like the scanning area and everything like that. And then it goes around. And then you've got just terminals for like a mile.
Oh yeah.
Practically. I mean, that's why they put those like automatic conveyor belt things in there. It was just because it was so much to have to walk across. So, I mean, these are massive space for sure. And the negative side of that is because everything around it is going to be flat. So it's going to be easy to see. Yeah. But I don't know if I necessarily say that it would be easy to defend just because, again, you have just so much space around you that you have to guard.
Exactly.
It would be frustrating. Security, they're typically pretty secure.
They are, yeah.
I mean, not as secure as when they have the TSA agents there.
Right.
But
yeah, a lot of times people do frontline defense. I think the biggest thing as far as being able to defend it from, the other point of view, if you're trying to, go in and get stuff, they're going to have trouble defending it just because of the large size of it. They're going to have to be a pretty dang large group to be, taking over that whole place. Be able to have, watches on all sides. Now, it depends on, obviously, the size of the city you live in is going to, be how possible it is going to be to infiltrate that airport. But larger the airport, the better chance of being able to actually get in it without being detected, and also being able to actually get something out of it. You might not want to waste time in small town airports where it's literally like a 2-plane airport.
Oh yeah, and they're usually crop dusters anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So probably not a whole lot of stuff there.
It's just a runway basically.
Maybe more in the plane garages than there actually is in the actual airport itself. But I would say if you can, it's easy enough. Go in the daytime because of the daylight. Large windows. You think of it. A lot of times natural light from the from up top and the sides. So I think it could be worth it being easier to check because you can kind of see a lot of stuff from the outside if you're walking around. So, but yeah, just make sure that you're not stumbling across someone's turf.
That's right.
If you see any markings that lead you to believe that a gang is taking over or whatever, definitely not worth it. But if you don't see anything, it might be free game and it might be worth it to check out. And it probably doesn't have a lot of risk. Once again, just make sure you're going in the daytime so that if there is any roamers, in there, or whatever the case might be, that you have an advantage to be able to see them and get out when you need to. And always check your exits too. Make sure you have escape plans.
Yep.
Because it's such a big building.
Yep.
You don't want to get turned around and all of a sudden you run into a dead end or something and
you're being chased by a whole group of roamers, and then you're just done.
So
Planes in and of themselves can actually make for like a really great little, self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Well, not self-sustaining, I guess, but you know what I mean. Like it's their own little area that you can hide in, live in, whatever the case, which is kind of nice in and of itself.
Yeah.
Easy to guard since it's only one door in.
Yeah.
Negative side is there's only one door in, so
But
that means
there
there's
is-
also only one door out.
They do have that exit hatch
That's
as well.
true.
So there is that emergency exit that can only be opened from the inside.
Yes.
Now,
so,
if it works without power, I do not know.
ooh, that's a good point.
But if it does, I think it's mainly a mechanical thing.
Right.
So I think you pull it, it kind of pops off.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But it is a long way down from that too. So you also want to
True.
have maybe a rope ladder attached or something before you do it. Just if you are planning on a
Make sure that exit is
long stay,
prepared
yeah.
before. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you get rushed in the front, you pop it open, you drop down, and you head out or whatever. So
Absolutely. Now, as far as like looting and items go, as far as the airport, within an airplane in and of itself, there's pretty much nothing.
right,
Unless you get into the bowels of the plane. Yes, I
Bowels.
said bowels.
find the extra luggage.
Find some
possibly.
luggage,
It's
maybe.
possible, yeah.
Same thing goes for the airport. You can go through and find people's luggage. You'll find clothes. Maybe liquids within a 3.5 liter milliliter.
Yeah. If you're
Couldn't
very
be a liter.
If you're
That'd
very
be-
thirsty, it'll
Yeah, you can drink
it's
a
like
thing of
350
shampoo.
milliliters or something. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like those travel shampoo bottles.
Yeah, I should have just said that. Now I sound like a weird. I'm from America. I don't know the milliliters.
Yeah, milliliter. Is that a
I
quart?
think it's ounces. I could have just said ounces. That is what we
7
use.
ounces or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. So whatever the case, there are usually restaurants that were in there, whether the food is good or not. Is, to be questioned or whatever.
Freezer stuff might still be decent.
Maybe-
Depends on.
Candy bars.
Yeah, so it depends on what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Dry foods, a lot of canned stuff in there. Because they were going through a lot of guests.
That's right.
So hopefully before they shut down everything, they had a big shipment. And
As far as weapons go, you're not going to find much. If you're lucky, you might be able to find like their little golf cart style carts and stuff that they drive around with. You might find one of those. That could be useful.
yeah, could be.
It's only going to last as long as your gas lasts you. But
Yeah, but that's the thing. It doesn't take a lot of gas, and it does. At least give you some sort of thing to go on.
Absolutely.
Goes
it's
faster than
mostly,
your
I'd say use it in an emergency
Yeah.
setting or something. But
faster than your standard roamer.
Absolutely,
Or
it
if you
does.
got anyone who's crippled or whatever,
hop
so-
them on there.
a lot easier than.
Is it
maintenance on a
faster than
car.
the people that are crippled? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, it probably would be. All right, so yeah, I'd say, end of the day, airports, good scavenge, bad scavenge. I'd be willing to go as far
Yeah.
as say it's a good scavenge.
Worth the risk.
Like I said, one single airplane is a good spot for, you could have a small family living in there.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be fine.
Yeah.
If you can kick the seats out, like if you can pull the seats up and get rid of them, then you'd have so much space. It'd be
Very
great.
true. Yeah.
It'd be great. So I'd say, yeah, worth it. Even just for one plane. If you can claim one plane as your own, I think you're all set. We're talking a full-size passenger plane.
Yeah.
Just FYI. Not a
Big
crowd
one.
duster or something.
No.
That'd be uncomfortable. All right. So next one on the list. Let's talk about restaurants. Lots of potential for finding food items. Pretty popular because of the potential to find food items. I think it kind of goes like a lot of things that we're talking about where it's one of those areas where if it hasn't been claimed yet, it might be worth claiming.
Yeah.
But again, the chances that it's got anything worth holding in it are probably pretty low,
Yeah.
I would think. That's my take on it. What are your thoughts?
No, I'm pretty much with you there. I'm assuming probably by this point the majority of that stuff's gonna be picked over. The hope you might have is that people were so worried about food and stuff. You might be able to get some of the knives or other cooking
yeah, that's a
utensils or
good
whatever. A lot of times there's a basement in restaurants that have extra pantry space and stuff. Just a lot of various extra things, whether that's knives or whatever. But so you might be able to do that, or just extra pans. If they got a lot of cast iron stuff, that stuff's heavy.
Yep.
Not gonna be carrying all the time. So if you need some cooking wares, maybe that's a good place to find it too. So I think most restaurants are gonna be small enough that you're gonna be able to kind of get in and out quickly, so you're not gonna have to worry too much. Once again, obviously, if it's not claimed. So I think it might be worth it to check out just because of the quickness of it and stuff, but I would not hold your hopes of getting much stuff at this point.
Right. And a lot of times, I guess they are pretty heavily windowed because
Yeah.
they like to have that natural light coming in.
Yeah, that's true too.
So as far as safety goes, I guess that kind of makes it null. So I'd say as far as scavenge goes, good scavenge, bad staying place.
Yeah.
Probably. And like you said, Sly, in and out, make it quick, grab what you need, take what you want, and then get out of there.
Yeah.
So, end of the day, good scavenge, bad stick around.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right. Here's kind of an interesting one. Fire stations.
Ooh.
That one, I've never, let's see. I don't know if I've ever actually been inside of a fire station before. I want to say maybe at some point we had a field trip or something back when I was like in elementary school, but I don't remember it very well.
Yeah, probably. I feel like everyone has
I feel like everybody, yeah. Or, oh, no, you know what? They probably visited while I was in school, to the school. Like, they brought the fire truck, and they were like, yeah, this is what we do, and we stop fires and stuff. But I don't remember, I don't know. They've got a whole, like, living setup in there for the firefighters, volunteers, whatnot. They've got some food in there. Equipment, there's definitely equipment in there.
Oh, yeah.
The buildings are usually pretty secure.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty embarrassing if the fire building started on fire. So I think they usually make it pretty up to code.
Yep. Usually big brick buildings. Obviously if you get lucky and there's a fire truck in there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe different pieces off that. Even the hose itself can be used for many different things. Yep. So, a lot of pieces on that.
You need to get up high.
If you can,
ladder.
If you can get
you need to
that
get down
thing,
low.
hose.
Ladder.
Oh, yeah, ladder.
Or I guess you could ride the hose, but then you're going to be stuck.
Yeah, very true. But, or a lot of it is, you could even, just if you even can possibly get that thing set up and get it running, what a great vehicle to be able to take through stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
You
plow right through the Rona roomers.
Yep, you can, customize it and put some stuff on it, Dawn of the Dead style, get a plow on it, put some spikes on the side, whatever, so that might be worth it. And yeah, it is a very secure place. I think because of that, I think the toughest part of it is trying to find, make sure there isn't going to be some, have it already claimed.
Right.
Because the other benefit of it as well, which is why they're so sought after to be claimed and stuff, is the fact that they're kind of like big houses, right? Mm-hmm. You have people living there really, for a couple days at a time when they're on duty. So for the firefighters and stuff, you have a kitchen. That once again, you can get power up and running to it. You can get you have a full kitchen. You got a actual rec room type stuff. So it really creates instead of just surviving, you can actually live and enjoy yourself a little bit more when you have a place like that. Actual beds, sleep on, couches, things that are already there. They don't have to worry about going through and getting there. So. But that's the thing. Has it been scavenged? Is there any of that stuff left? And is there anyone taking over? So if you got yourself a fire station, congrats. Guard it. If you don't have your, try to find an empty one so you don't have to fight someone for theirs.
Positive side is usually they'll have depending on the size of the city, they might have more than one within the city because they have to have them like in specific.
Oh,
districts,
that's true too.
You know what I mean? Like I know here we have. I don't even like half a dozen at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5 or 6 probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So depending on where you live, there's probably multiple. So it's possible that there's one somewhere that hasn't been claimed yet, which would be awesome. Yep. So I mean, at the end of the day, I'd say probably a good scavenge. Honestly, if you can find one, if it hasn't been claimed yet, grab it because I think between the stuff that's inside and then the building itself is a pretty good asset. And I mean, we all know that from every zombie movie that a fire axe, that's a good...
Yeah, fire axes are great.
Weapon.
Or every zombie game, it's always one of the first weapons you get, one of those fire axes. I also would say, too, one of the pros to it is the fact that they always have these giant garages, right, because of the vehicles. Even if there's not one in there, you could get something in there and you could work on it. If you're a mechanic around or whatever, you could kind of, it's just a good storage space for that type of stuff. So, also another pro for that. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. So, yeah, good scavenge on firehouses. Definitely check them out if you have one near you.
Yep, definitely.
It's possible that it's even still running. Who knows?
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of area you live in and how much the sanitation union wants to put into a program like that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. This one's an interesting one, especially given current times. Again, this could have been a headline in and of itself, but one of the things that started to decline to the point of almost non-existence right before the Coronapocalypse, and of course is kind of coming back in a new form, is cinemas, movie theaters.
Oh, yes.
What are we thinking on movie theaters as far as looting as well as is it worth residing in?
I think my issue with movie theaters is there's too much place to hide. A lot of dark corners, a lot of dark spots, even just underneath seats, whatever. Could
Just
be
like no windows.
exactly. Could
no
be a
lights
good
coming in.
ambush point for the raiders and stuff, whatever, and then just for Roanoers that got caught in there, whatever.
That's right.
Just hide. Not purposely, but obviously they just kind of bump in the corners and stuff, trying to get out, and all of a sudden they see you. So, if you do go to search it, I would recommend using the back doors.
Yep.
Popping open the exit door in the back. How you and your friends used to sneak into movies. You little dirty hooligans out there.
Oh man, you know it.
That's they're gonna be the best part, because then that opens the back of the theater and you can kind of see easier and stuff. And then if it there's something in there, you can quick getaway. Block the door or whatever, and then head out. So, but I don't really know how much stuff is really gonna be in a movie theater as far as like actual loot.
Food. It's just gonna be popcorn.
All
seeds.
the pretty much you can get popcorn seeds.
It won't even be popped popcorn. It'll be popcorn seeds, oil, and salt.
Which is actually probably better, because in the oil, all you gotta do is get a hot surface.
That's true.
Fire
you can make
out.
it yourself. That's true. That is true, and it is good.
So there is that. You might get, if you get bulks of that, at least that'll last a while. But
movie theater popcorn is always better, anyways.
Yeah, and it's gonna be front of the house stuff, so you might have a little bit better chance of getting that. But
that's true.
Just other than really popcorn seeds, most of that stuff's gonna be bad probably by now.
Yep.
You might get a couple cans of dry goods, but that's pretty much probably gonna be popcorn or hot dog toppings and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Get some mustard and your ketchup.
I would recommend probably not doing it, like I said, unless you're in the area and you know for sure there's nothing in it.
Or like you said, run in, grab a box of like popcorn and necessities, and then leave.
Exactly.
I completely agree with you. After everything I experienced while playing the game Dead Rising, there's an entire area where you go into it. There's actually cultists in the movie theater. That was where they were using.
Of course they were.
So definitely wasn't fun. Actually, I did kind of enjoy that whole section, but nevertheless, it wasn't even because
wasn't safe.
The only reason I enjoyed it so much is because the cultists, when you take them down, they gave you so much experience points. So if you were like a high enough level already, it was just you slash, or you had a good enough weapon. I'd say that you could just slash right through them. It was easy peasy, and it was just like so much experience points. But there was also a lot of other stuff going on, and there's also the part where like if you get caught, then you wake up in like a little room with like just your underwear.
Oh yeah.
You don't have all your weapons that I was just talking about. So then you have to like pick up a little step ladder, and you have to beat the crap out of them.
That sounds about right.
That was not fun.
It's like
then you're
like
everything's
Skyrim.
gone,
Getting caught in Skyrim, you gotta pick the lock.
Exactly.
Go retrieve your things.
It's just a whole mess. So I digress. I would agree. I think cinemas are probably a big no-no, pretty much all around. So okay. Food. Let's do that one. Food distribution or manufacturing centers. So this is like where the food is actually made, prepared. Could be a meat packing plant, could be a canning facility, could be, as much food as there is out there, there's probably a plant for it.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Well, any of the ones that are shut down, which is the majority of them at this point, Sanitation Union has a couple on their belt that they have kept up and running. They've diverted enough power to. But the majority of them that were privately owned before are probably not going to be running. Your biggest thing, obviously, with the meat packing plants, and most of that meat's not going to be good.
It's going to smell bad.
Yeah,
I feel like it'll smell bad for miles.
I think that's probably it, too. So if you smell anything, don't mess with it. It's great for roamer attraction. Actually, if you have a base, if you want to think of a good place for that, because of the smell, actually putting a base up, within, a mile of it, it's not bad either, because the smell essential is going to be coming from that. So it actually will divert from you. If you can deal with the smell, it's actually a pretty safe place.
That's the part that you got to live with.
So
we have a near where we live, we have a processing facility for
pork. And I think
I was talking about the
sewage for the sewage processing.
And there's actually about maybe 500 feet away from the facility itself, there's a house.
Yep.
Someone lives there, and I just always have wondered, like, they probably got pretty conned into that house.
I actually knew the guy who had
you
house.
knew him? Okay.
He actually bought it for like super cheap because of that location.
I would imagine.
It, and now it's been a few years, but he actually sold that back to the city.
Really?
Yeah.
So the city owns it?
The city bought it for like full price, whatever. Yeah, he got it, paid it off, and sold it back to the city. And the city's gonna do something with it. I don't know.
Did they I mean, did they pay him more?
They paid, I think, at least what it was worth, which was more than what he paid for
And
it.
he had already paid it off, so that was just profit at that point.
It was just straight up, yeah. It might have been more than that too, but so yeah. So I mean, it actually worked out, but it wasn't horrible. But yeah, I'm not sure that would be my first.
Oh yeah,
choice
it wouldn't be. It'd be hard to bring people back to your place.
It'd have to be a really nice house and for really cheap to be worth to buy it.
So I guess in this concept, yeah, it works a little bit differently because you're trying to keep people away. So obviously, Rona roamers are going to be more attracted to the stink itself, which means they're not going to come by your place, or at least they'll go right past it.
Exactly.
Raiders and other people are probably going to veer away from it because they don't want to have to deal with this. They don't want to have to live there. So if you've definitely got a nose that can handle it, have at it.
Maybe you're lucky and you lost your sense and taste from COVID and never gained it back.
That's true.
And now you're like, I am a survivor now. Because
taste is a big part. Or wait, no, I'm thinking smell is a big part of taste.
Yes, smell is a big part of taste.
Maybe it all
usually came
out somehow.
Usually it works in conjunction with
yeah. So of course. Now, granted, that's just if it's a meat packing plant.
Yeah.
Other things, canned goods especially.
Oh my
that'd be like, dude, just go in there. You might as well
jackpot.
find out. Yeah.
The good news is there's going to be a ton of them in there. The bad news
absolutely.
is everyone's going to be wanting to go there.
That's right. If they knew it's there, they might have already checked it out. There's a good chance.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where it really comes down to. Has it already been looted? But problem is these facilities are usually pretty big. Is there a chance that raiders are using it? Sure. In fact, I'm pretty sure when I played Fallout 4, going back to video game examples again, I'm pretty sure one of the first missions you go on was actually an entire food manufacturing that was being used as a raider base. But I digress. You'll find out pretty quick if somebody's there. I mean, they'll post guards and stuff. So.
Yeah, you'll be able to check it out from afar. Once again, it's worth it if you want to scout and kind of get it checked out, and don't push yourself into it without knowing what you're getting into.
Definitely worth looking into. So I'd say bottom line, good scavenge. Again, as long as it's not some kind of like meat or something that would have expired quickly.
Yeah, go for those canning ones for sure.
Yep. Frozen stuff.
Twinkies.
Probably not. Oh, Twinkies. Yeah. If you can find a Twinkie plant, you are set.
Go to any of that stuff.
And all the carbs and sugars that you'll be digesting.
Hey, it keeps you going.
Yep, it does. All right. Next one. This one's a little bit harder. I'm not going to do houses. Houses is kind of an obvious one.
Yeah.
It literally, there's no way to really gauge whether or not it's worth it or not. I mean, you might as well check.
It's such a different, exactly.
The likeliness somebody is definitely living in every single house that you might check is pretty low. Mm-hmm. So I guess as far as houses go, good scavenge to the extent that you have no idea what you're going to find in there.
Do a quick ding-dong ditch.
Yeah, ding-dong and ditch it.
And then, go, and check it out from afar and scout from there,
Yeah.
Two-man style. You ding-dong ditch, run around somewhere else, and then the other person can see from the other angle.
That's a good point, yeah.
That way for sure if there's someone living in it, move on. And then if there's someone not, check it out.
Stuff you'll find in there. I mean, you'll find canned goods more than likely. You'll find clothes. You can find medicine. I mean,
you could find Rona roamers.
You could find Rona roamers. So yeah, the diversity in what you could find in any given house is pretty broad. So make sure you're prepared. I mean, houses are basically like the in between. of everything, every single aspect. Could be good stuff, could be bad stuff. Could be dangerous, could be safe.
Yeah,
could be inhabited, could be not.
It's too much up in there. I think it's such a, it's your mileage may vary situation.
Exactly. So if you're feeling like taking a chance, but at the same time you're not feeling like taking a chance, like I said, it's literally the in-between of anything. Yeah.
And this is the Coronapocalypse. I mean, you're going to have to scavenge and you have to take risks. So there are, it's all this stuff is going to be risk, but it's going to be, is the risk low enough? Is the reward high enough? Where is the...
And how prepared did you come to the risk?
Exactly.
That's a big part of it.
Where's that access we want to intersect on that makes us comfortable enough?
Next up, so like I said, we're not really going to get too deep into houses aside from that. So schools. School buildings, whether it be an elementary school, high school, middle school. We'll even throw in college. We got buildings. Usually they got multiple buildings on campus.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I am concerned... I don't know. I'm kind of in between on it. I could see the benefits. There's definitely, especially like with food items and dried food items, there's definitely some things to possibly be gained from it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and again, we could say this for just about any physical location. There's possibly somebody that could be residing there already.
Yeah.
Although if you're talking about a college campus, I mean, there's multiple buildings. You might be able to find at least one building that you can... inhabit.
Yeah, and then maybe get to know your neighbors.
Absolutely. Interesting fact, actually. So we're pretty big gamers over here at the Apocalypse Bros.
Yeah.
We're pretty big nerds.
We like the game.
I sound like Squidward. SpongeBob. Anyways, and there's our nerds again. We're pretty big nerds. We play a lot of games, some of which might include role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons. D&D. Yes. One of the first, not the first, but one of the first campaigns that I ever wrote that was a homebrew campaign, because I pretty much only ever do. I won't go into it, but pretty much all the campaigns that I do have been homebrew campaigns that I've created. And one of them was entirely based on modern day with a sort of secluded zombie apocalypse on a college campus.
Oh.
So, like, everything that happened on the college campus was, like, perfect for this discussion, I guess you could say. Obviously, minus the fact that we're not talking too much about raiders. We're talking strictly about zombies in the campaign.
Right.
So that was mostly what they had to focus on and worry about. But I will say that, in all honesty, the amount of different stuff that you could get is pretty well worth it. The potential for food is pretty high if you can find the hall where they did the dining and things like that. The layout of a college, and I'm talking to college specifically, but the layout of a college is so vast that the likeliness that you could probably escape the building you're in and run to a different building to hide in or something along those lines is pretty high. Which is really great. So, like, yes, if you end up running into something that becomes a problem, you can typically get out of there, get to a safe spot, and you're good.
Yeah.
Now, on high school, middle school, elementary, those tend to be one building that's all interconnected in some way, shape, or form.
And they're all pretty, like, square in shape.
Yeah,
long
exactly.
hallways with, not really any exits except just the doors, different classrooms and stuff.
Exactly.
Nice thing about those college campus buildings, you ever been in, any, really amount of them, you know that there are so many different shapes and stuff, and you can cut through the middle of them. I mean, you can go a lot of different ways to get to different points and stuff, which is why in those buildings, if you know your way around the building, you have an advantage over anybody else. So, but yeah, in high school buildings, it can be a lot tougher as far as being able to get out when you need to because of, I think, the the square sort of rectangular pattern that they a lot of times have.
Absolutely. So yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, at the end of the day, high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, probably not the best.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of is you might get some first aid or sports equipment.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Sports equipment, yeah.
Ropes or whatever. Or possibly if you get into the, their sheds and stuff, maybe some different lawn equipment in there, something that you can use for, blades, make homemade weapons, whatever the case is.
And, of course, lawn equipment, that's probably going to be kept in a separate building.
Exactly.
Like you said, shed.
Yeah,
so
you're going to have to find it. Probably find a key or
by itself.
Bring yourself some bolt cutters.
The bolt cutters, yep, absolutely. Which we talked about part one, yep.
Talk about your weapons that you'll need or your tools that you'll need to get into places. And
that's right. So, but colleges, I'd say definitely.
I
mean, in all honesty, scope it out a little bit, but, if there's buildings that aren't currently being resided in, go for it. One thing I will say, though, is that your residence halls are probably not going to be the most beneficial to you.
Yeah.
For the sole reason that most of those doors are going to be locked. Not to mention, you're probably going to need a key card to get into the building, which I believe every college in existence at this time would be running off of. And, of course, without electricity, those aren't even going to be working. So it's just going to be bolted. So
exactly.
You'll literally have to break the
every door you're going to have to break down. You break down the entrance. Okay, well, then they're going to have to break down something else. And not to mention the noise, just the time and everything. By the time you exude that energy, you're probably not going to get what you have out of it, So, I mean, it says in a military facility.
If you could put some kind of a generator that can sustain the doors to one of the buildings, that'd be great. That'd be good. That'd be a really beneficial added security. On top of it, you would have to find the RHD, the RA, whatever.
Yep.
Usually they'll have a copy of all the keys. Or if you break into kind of the administrative building, you might find the person that was in charge of housing. They probably have a key to every single room. Then you could get into the different rooms, and then basically you could set up a hotel. That would be kind of cool. A post-apocalyptic hotel or post-apocalyptic apartment building. You'd be making big bucks off of that. So there could be some benefit to that. But again, that's a few steps that you'd have to get through in order to get into this. So if you have a college campus that maybe hasn't even been touched yet, it might be worth the time to go around, find all those pieces, and get something going because then you'd have a whole entire building to yourself where you could store, or not store, but allow other people to stay in, essentially.
There you go.
So,
Store people.
Store people. That sounds sketchy. So, yeah.
We're the store people. We store people.
We store people. So, college campuses, definitely go for it. Other schools, maybe not so much.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of those things that know your area well enough to know if it's worth it.
Yes, definitely. Last two, we're coming up in the last two. First of all, hardware stores / lumber yards.
Oh, man.
Personally, I'd say absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The resources that can be gained there, granted, I mean, lumber for the most part is probably going to be treated, so it's probably not going to be rotting.
Yeah.
It might be if it's not treated.
And if it's treated, don't burn it, please.
Yes,
we don't want you dying.
that is bad.
We don't want you making it through the apocalypse just to die from inhalation of
fumes.
So yeah,
Fumes.
So if you buy treated wood, or if you go and grab treated wood, obviously if it's a place that is not still in business, because there are still some, some have still been able to maintain it, without the electricity and stuff, and be able to work it through. But yeah, if you go to a place that isn't actually still up and running, the lumber is gonna be great. Like you were saying, the tools, obviously all the different stuff in there. So yeah, that's definitely, I think, a big one.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, hands down, I'd say if, again, like anything else, if it's not already being inhabited and protected by somebody, go for it. Seriously, like the amount of resource there is in either of these places, even if it is just lumber, I mean, you can take that back to your base, load it up somehow, whatever the case, load it onto a sled and haul it over. If you have a car or truck, you're already ahead of the game.
Get that rickshaw you've been talking about.
That's right. Get a rickshaw. Get it over there. Start fortifying. I mean, you could even build a place with what you could get here. So definitely worth it. Hardware stores, all those tools, all those things you can use. Things you could use as weapons. Gosh, I can't even list the amount of scythes, bludgeoning things, hammers, saws, axes. I mean, goodness, this is just everything.
Yeah, I mean, everything pretty much in those stores, always says caution and not for use for kids, all that stuff, which means it's going to be great for weapons.
Yeah, absolutely. If it says that, then and it's post Coronapocalypse, all the rules are gone. All right, so I would say definitely hit it up. In fact, if this could be one of your first places, then you'd get a lot of those tools that we had talked about previously, which you can then use in scavenging other places. So, all right, final one, and this one is based off of actually some other inspiration that I have. This one's based off of some other inspiration that I've had. Storage lockers.
Ooh, yes.
Now, I bring up that because, again, going back to the geeky thing, I've been working on my own board game here in the studio. I won't get too deep into it because it's still in the preliminary areas.
What else do you do when you're bored except work on a board game?
Work on a board game, exactly. But it involves storage lockers. That's all I'll say. Anyways, storage lockers. Should they be scavenged? Is it a good scavenge? Is it a bad scavenge?
I would say probably a good one. Because it's one of those things that you're going to be able to tell quickly, just walking through the storage yard, has it been hit? If there's not a lock on it, it's going to be quick enough to open up and look inside. You might want to open quick and just get a quick peek because there could be someone living in it. This is probably not going to be a raider facility. It's probably going to be someone just looking for a place. So maybe even give it a little knocky poo on the door there.
Good old knocky poo.
Little knocky poo. Knock, knock. Who's home?
Who's there?
And if no one answers, you're probably not going to have Rona roamers in there.
No.
Not a whole lot of stuff for them. Probably not a lot of food in them.
The likeliness that a person's going to be in them is probably pretty low. But there is that possibility. And, you don't know what kind of state they're in.
But you can especially find any that are still locked up and stuff. Bring your bolt cutters. There's a good chance you'll find stuff. Whether it's even just clothes for the winter.
Absolutely.
Whether it's actual stuff you're going to be able to use. More tools, whatever. You could find some stuff. Could be even anything valuable worth trade.
Furniture.
Some of those people collect stuff. There's still a lot of big collectors out in the Coronapocalypse. Not everyone has gone straight practicality. Some people are still about the collections. So. Anthony has a tin can collection.
Yep.
He's trying to collect every single pop ever created. Or soda for those of you non-Midwesters.
He has them organized by the sound they make when you tap them.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a Joe mess because you have, Coke next to Pepsi.
And you're like, whoa.
Right?
He's like, what?
It's like, listen to it. And then you go, ting, tong. It's like, oh, okay.
He's actually developing into quite the drummer.
It's true.
It's kind of interesting. But, I would agree. variety of stuff that you'll find, and the fact that it's going to be something that you can still use more than likely.
Exactly.
Nobody was storing things that were really going to go bad because the whole point of storing is to put it away for a potentially long period of time.
Yeah.
So you should be all set.
Might be able to find some bikes and scooters and stuff there too. So
yeah, absolutely. Any kind of like a self-propelled vehicle.
maybe someone put away their Heelys from the 8th grade that you can slip on.
Dude, that's actually very possible because they're old.
Because people back then like Heelys, like, oh, that was a cool fad.
And then they
put
bought
them
a
away.
bunch of them, and then they
No one wanted them, so they had to store them. Now,
Well, it wasn't even so much. I feel like it wasn't even so much people didn't want them. I think so many places banned them.
But they just stopped people wearing
so
them.
they were like, "Oh, we're just gonna stop wearing them because no one wants to buy them because they can't wear them anymore."
Yeah, and if your roads aren't good, you can't really use them on the roads very well. So you got to be very careful. So find yourself some,
That's how it goes.
Yeah, those are some of the valuable things we talked about.
Storage lockers, go for it. Yes, I'd say that's a good scavenge.
That's a low risk, high
very low
possibility reward. So
yeah. I mean, at the worst, you open one up and it's a bunch of like paper and crap.
I think
you just close it back up.
I think maybe that's your second one. I think you go first to
hardware store, lumber shop.
Yep, and then you go ahead and you hit up a local
get your
storage
bolt
facility.
cutters so you can get through those locks if it's locked up.
Get those first.
Yeah, and then I'd say stock up.
Yeah.
Honestly, spend a day at your oh my gosh, there's so many storage facilities too. Like so many.
Yeah,
like,
even in our smaller town, there's
here we've got at least like a
double
dozen,
digits. Yeah,
yeah. So, I mean,
all over the place.
And each storage facility is going to have like a good several dozen storage lockers themselves.
Oh
so I think you're bound to find at least a few good things, and you're bound to find one that nobody's touched yet, or maybe someone didn't have bolt cutters, so they weren't able to get into the locker. Which most of them will be.
You have people that literally have their whole lives in there because they're like truckers or something.
Absolutely.
They don't want to pay for a place to sleep. They're only going to use 2-3 nights a month, so they put majority of their stuff in there. So there's a good chance that you'll have something that you can grab.
That's right. So, well, that's been all of what we have for our tips, tricks, places to look for scavenging, for looting, etc. I don't know if I really want to use the word looting, but you get what I'm saying. That's everything that we have for that. Part 1 and 2 complete. Again, thank you for listening to the podcast. We love listeners. Bottom line,
we do.
We love you so much. Yes. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to check us out. Obviously, you're listening to us somehow, but don't forget to check us out on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartMedia, pretty much anywhere. But YouTube, podcast, anywhere podcasts can be found, you can probably find the Apocalypse Bros podcast. Definitely swing on over to Facebook because most people have that.
Jump in our bunker.
Jump in our bunker. We like it. We like it real good. You can definitely interact with us. You can interact with other friends of the podcast. You can give us suggestions. You can take part in our polls.
Give you sneak peeks of the next couple weeks that coming up.
We've got some big, crazy plans coming.
Some exciting stuff.
We've got our big finale here coming up that we're going to be doing something
2 episodes.
Cool. Wait, the finale is 2 episodes?
2 episodes from now.
Oh, we have 2 episodes left.
Episodes.
Yes, in 2 episodes, we will have the finale.
It'll be so good, it'll feel like 2 episodes.
Yes, yeah. So we'll have next week's episode, and then we'll have the finale after that. That's what we're trying to say.
I said 2 episodes, and I looked at Anthony. He was freaking out. He's
he was like, whoa, I'm not doing a 2-episode finale.
He only got one. Yeah. Don't freak your producers out like that, guys.
Yeah, it's not healthy for their
Sorry, Anthony. I wasn't clear on what I was meaning.
It's okay, buddy. So we will have that, and then next season, we've got an entire season for the most part, pre-planned. It's going to be exciting. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. We'll talk about that. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it, too. Yeah, me too. We'll be talking a little bit more about that at the end of the finale episode. We'll give you guys a little bit of a taste of it. Yum. And
delicioso.
We'll take a couple breaks in between, or we'll take a bit of a break in between, but then that way we can get everything all together that we need and everything.
Holiday season.
That's right, it is. We're coming up on that in the post-apocalyptic world. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a whole new thing.
No Black Friday.
No Black Friday, that's right. So, make sure to check us out on Facebook. Make sure to drop us a review. If you're on iTunes, we'd love to hear about your post-apocalyptic experience. And feel free to subscribe however you listen or follow or whatever the case.
At least like.
At least like it. We appreciate that. I mean, we appreciate the listen, but the like is nice too. Lets us know we're doing something right.
Give us a heart.
We love it. We heart you back.
Heart. They all sound like that.
That's right, they do. And bottom line, don't forget us because this has been another episode of
The Apocalypse Bros.